welcome back. We're calling it sale week. Some rushed things last minute, week before having people to our open house. Okay guys, well I wrangled my goat. She was a non-approving contestant. Look at how bad her hooves get so quick. Like I said, I had one blade that was already cleaned up. I did not sharpen the other ones yet because I think she's probably the only one I'll get to. But we're going to see if we can't get these knocked down as safe as possible for her to start. And then all these girls will get worked through the chute once the snow melts and the weather gets a little warmer again. If you're a feller that has a beard, be prepared to stink like smelly hoof in your beard. If you wear a pocket t-shirt, you will end up with hoof trimmings in your pocket t-shirt. So don't plan on going to town. You will smell like stinky, muddy, poopy hoof at this time of the year or any time it's wet out. So okay guys, like I said, Tori has not been with us all that long. She has not been on our mineral program very long. And so the amount of time we have had her is roughly about the same amount of time it takes to really see minerals showing up. Hopefully these girls, as they lose some winter coat, we get them cleaned up, get those supplements working through them, those minerals. We'll start to see some things like, oh geez, her coat's so rough. Well, give us a little bit to clean her up to what we like to think is our standard. I don't know how many of you have a 5-year-old that he's over there in his rubber boots, his jeans, his burn winter coat, and he's playing with one of his tractors. He's got it buried in about 6 inches of dirt. So, I mean, moms, I'm sure moms out there looking at this like, oh man, look at all that dirt and dust in his clothes. He's going to come in, and I guarantee you guys, that child has no socks on, so when he climbs around, all that dirt is going right down in them boots, and his toes are going to look like he's a Neanderthal, been walking around for months. So, if you guys hear any crazy noises in the background, it's Mr. Wyatt playing in the dirt. And they got weaned last night. Sheila Anderson boar goats. You hear that very, very loud goat? That's Cream Puff that we got from you like 2 or 3 years ago. Something like that, maybe 3 seasons ago down at Beatrice. By far one of the noisiest goats. If she's not the noisiest goat we've ever had here, she's the second noisiest goat we've ever had here. Mommy let you outside? So, oh, she's got her coat. Are we gonna feed the goats? Hey, are we gonna feed the goats?
Yeah.
Yeah, can you say feed the goats? Hi? No. Okay, well anyway, we're going to do the chores quick. Okay, now let's just throw that out there that I do need 2 more hay feeders. But this is why we cannot have nice things. Hey guys, so we are, Shana used some of this bedding, this straw, over in front of the boys' weaning shed, the old one, just to clean it up for selling 4-H weathers and projects and stuff like that to people here this weekend. It just makes it for cleaner pictures, and just in general, with it having been muddy, it just keeps them out of the mud. Since I don't have rock here yet. The problem is, this straw is so good when it was put up. Sorry, I'm trying to block that light. It was so good that it's super light and fluffy and slick, and it's like perfect the day out of the field. And so this was a big square that we got from Todd and Jess. The problem is, with it being so good, it doesn't hold together like some of the small squares will from time to time. Now we've got like a mini bunker of straw. I'm not happy about this. So, I ran across him a year or so ago. Farm Life, I think it's Richard, something like that. It's been a while since I've looked that up specifically. But anyway, he had a video out. He raises boar goats. He recently had a video of getting large square bales instead of small squares. And he was kind of like some of us, you know, how do I get these bales off this trailer? So he was going to pull them off, stuff like that. I had made a suggestion in the comments, cut your twine and just stack it vertically. And I apologize if you can't see this real well. I don't have a light on the outside of the building, but I'm doing exactly that. So you see, I've already got about half of this. These are 3x3, but here was my suggestion. Anyway, like I said, this is just what works for me. I don't prefer to do it in this spot because, well, it's kind of in the way. A good 4 to 6 inch chunk at a time, so that way if you hold it the right way, you can brace that big flake together and just kind of support it against you, put your knee under it, and you can flip it. Let me move you over and I'll show you quick how I pull that. Now it's gonna look like I'm not pulling anything because there's not a lot of bale left, but I want to show you an example. Just another little trick. If you guys would pick one of these up, me and Todd have done this a number of times. So when you drop it in, we run our strings horizontal when we drop this in. This works really well if you do this. Okay, so as you see, I have got the twine flipped up over the edge of the bed and it's hanging down quite a ways. So far, this is all the alfalfa I've had knocked off. So let me show you how this works. So, as you can see, I've just tied a knot in there, something to hold. I've got my other one here. So I'm just going to take them. And you can do that. Throw them back out of the way. Now, I pulled it fairly far, but I'll kind of reach up here and get a good bite, tip it over. This one's going to fall apart on me. Off to the races. And then, inevitably, when that happens, I don't have to climb up there because I can still grab them. It's still attached underneath and I can still pull it back to me. inevitably. So that struggle is what can happen when you grab those big flakes and you only get a partial chunk, so it's uneven, loses its structure. So now I've got a mess. So I'm just gonna leave that one in a pile, and that'll be tomorrow's alfalfa. Okay, so today what we're gonna be working on is the boys. Let me get over here in the shade behind the trailer and block the wind. So we've got Brett, our homegrown freak show, and Brett's son, a homegrown strategic command. He was like a December and he was like a February last year, give or take, something like that. But anyway, these boys have been basically living in this shed. It is way past time to trim hooves. Since we finally got the snow melted over by the working chute, things like that, I can finally get them over there. The one thing that you're not probably seeing from a distance is, I'm guessing, straw mites. You know, you try to leave the bedding down in the shed and then add a little bit as it gets cold. You know, we have way less problems, on the goats that are on shavings, but we also change that bedding out regularly. We don't deep bed them like these animals outside. The boys, when they get it, like on Freak Show, his inner legs start to lose the hair. You gotta worry about on the scrotum. You know, up here in any of these joints, those mites like to hunker down where it's warm in the winter. And you know, genetically, some animals, they don't get affected as much as others. But what I'm going to do today, these guys have all had 3 weeks worth of medication. So they had once a week for 3 weeks. They got a sub-Q shot of ivermectin. It does sting, but the sub-Q injection we found is the most effective in the shortest amount of time. Brett already looks like he's doing a little bit better, or we got him headed off. Now Freak Show and Stratcom still kind of have some. What we gotta watch for is like up right here, you know, if we got some, if they've been picking at it or scratching, they've got some spots that are raw. What I'm gonna do today is probably use some MTG Plus. And so basically what the MTG Plus is gonna do is we're going to use it to try to help fend anything off on the surface. It's also got some sulfur in it compared to the regular MTG. It's in your horse aisle at your farm store. And so we are going to spray them. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit of Vaseline and coat those wounds areas just to seal them up. We don't want any infections or anything like that coming in. Good thing is conditions are dry. We want to coat those up, and then I'm going to take in, while they're in the chute after I trim their hooves, I'm going to spray all those spots. Sometimes that sulfur will help stimulate some hair growth and things like that again. But we're going to do that. And then I would say after that, we'll give it maybe a week or so. Conditions are right. You know, timing works out. We'll probably run the boys in again, and we'll probably coat their legs and everything with new stock. We usually get that from, I don't know if she gets it from Valley Vet or Jeffers or whoever she gets it from. But that's who we're going to get, you know, that's kind of the plan for now. Okay, I'm going to stand kind of close and block the microphone. So here's the problem I have with our Northeast Texas Gate chute is there's only 2 holes in these bars that adjust in. So there's a narrow setting that I can use for almost everybody. And then the bucks, you can go one side out a hole or 2 holes or, you know, whatever the case is. I should say you can move them widthwise on each side, wider 1 hole. The problem is if I go 2 holes, I don't have a 4,000 pound monster buck. And so, I mean, Brett's got a good sized neck to him, don't lie. I'm not gonna lie. But what happens is, you can see me struggle if I just try to grab his horns and pull him in. But the problem is, when he decides midway through trimming, he'll just turn his head, boop, pop right out. So that's what I struggle with, is not I can't set it super close because then I can't get his neck in there and get it snapped without hurting him. But if I go too wide, then he can easily pop out, and then I'm fighting to get him back in. So usually it's a struggle. That's a consideration. If the holes were drilled just a ½ inch over, then I could set it perfect. But that's just a fact of manufacturing. They don't always know what they need, so they're going to set it to a general standard. Nonetheless, I do like the chute. As you can see, I have the other 2 contestants are over here, but it's going to take me a little bit to get Brett in here. Look at those hooves. They're a monster. They need treated really bad. His down here just above his hoof, you know, you can tell he'd been biting at it, some stuff like that. I think his mites are cleaning up. We will hit it with an MTG. So anyway, like I said, enough talking. It's too hard with the wind. Okay, so as you can see, we have a different contestant. Didn't have the phone on, it got tipped over by the wind. But Brett, like I was just saying, if I don't have these set right, he can get out. Well, I had Shayna come out to help me. I went to walk around to see if I could push from behind. He turned his head, boop, plopped right out. So all he has to do is work his head and he's through. Huge pain in the butt. So at the risk of potentially ruining these pipes, which I think will be okay, I'm gonna split the holes and drill an extra hole, because I had to put them as tight as I could for Freak Show here, and he's got a healthy neck on him too, and he was just like screaming like, this is way too tight, man. So I'm going to at least drill 1 hole on one side between the 2 and see if I can't help this out. Okay, so now I have 3 holes. They're probably not lined up because, well, I didn't spin this out. I can't get the drill. Sorry, the wind's blowing everything. Can't get the drill in there. So the gap that was between the holes was 2 inches. So by the time you move them, you're either moving it 2 inches or 4 inches. So now I've got a 1 inch adjustment. So hopefully now, at least on one side, I can alleviate some issues. Maybe that extra inch, just the amount of room we need for Freak Show. Okay, if you watch Millennial Farmer, you'll get that, but like I said, I can't even keep you guys upright out here. Okay, well, I guess let's see if I can get you in now. Okay. I think that's gonna work, because as you can see, he can turn his head. He's got some free movement. He's not pinched too tight, so he's got some comfort. He can move up and down, but he's held firmly enough that even though at his stage he has a fairly swept back horn, he's not down and out like Brett is, he shouldn't be able to get out of this. But he's not bellering, so he should be comfortable. So I think that helped. I try to go in, hit these hooves hard, and I back off and give them a second to recuperate, or regroup, I guess I should say. and then I step back in, hit them hard again, or I'll move like you saw. I move to a rear hoof, knock as much down as I can, work around them a little bit. So if you have one that's a little difficult, you know, take that into consideration. There's Brett. I know some of you were asking about him. He's got quite the forearm to him, doesn't he? We got him trimmed up. That's probably the best trim. By adjusting this, that's probably the best trim he's had in quite a while. I got him knocked down almost to where I want. You know, not perfect. I can be a little particular, but not necessarily always have the ability at one shot to knock down that much hoof. It's not always healthy to knock down that much, depending on the hoof quality. But anyway, he's cleaned up good. We got Freak Show's hooves cleaned up. We've hit Stratcom, so everybody got new stock on any sore spots. You know, the problem is with those mites, man, their hide really turns into almost like leather. And so Shayna came out, because we only have a box of size small latex gloves, and I don't have big hands, but small ain't cutting it. So anyway, she applied new stock to all the really rough spots and these sore spots, and then we coated them with MTG Plus. If you guys aren't familiar, here it is. So it's usually in the horse aisle, and it says single solution for fungus, rain rot, girth itch, scratches, sweet itch, tail rubbing, dry skin, bug bites, mane and tail growth, conditioning, and detangling. And so, like I said, they normally have MTG, but like I said, the Plus, I believe, is what contains the sulfur. You can kind of see. I know in agriculture our sulfur's yellow, so I'm guessing it says 4% sulfur. Shayna had actually sprayed some of this on Freak Show just through the fence the other day, and it seems like it kept things from creeping on skin condition and mites and stuff like that. So that's good. So we can attest to, I mean, it's not going to be an end-all be-all, but it does work well. We also recommend new stock. Here's new stock. Yeah, so stops itching immediately, promotes fastest hair growth, regrows hair, even on old wounds. Like I said, we'll coat things with this and then we'll spray them. Some of the other things that are out there, you know, like Jason at Clear Creek, he had showed a product a while back, but it had to do with washing. Now, granted, we got a nice 70-degree day right now, but it drops back down to like 30 at night. And these guys have just got an open fronted shed. And usually when we have this issue, it's in the winter, and we don't have a heated wash bay or something like that. And it was a nicer day when he was doing it too. But that's where I find like the hardest part of treating it. Now, I think the biggest solution is going to be us being determined, just like on those sheds over there, we find a point to clean those. These are probably going to need to be cleaned just as much. But I think if we clean these sheds regularly, even in the winter, I don't know how I'm going to do that, because I'm going to have to, I can't wheelbarrow it because usually there's snow in here, even if I snow blow it. So we're going to have to figure that out. But if we clean these regularly and maybe move away from straw, maybe we can help prevent some of this. So I don't know. It's a consideration. It's an expense. It's extra time. But that all doesn't matter if I can keep my animals in good health. And ultimately, we may go broke one day trying to keep the healthiest animals we can, but I mean, hey, if we're selling a product to you, if we can say, hey, we did our best and we didn't cut any corners, or we didn't say, oh, it's too cold, we're not going to do it, hey, you're going to get a better product. So hopefully we can do that. But